mentor, not Jessie.
So we were like holding and I already pressed submit.
무섭다.
네, 안녕하세요 여러분. 저는 외교부 서포터 모파랑 22기 이재혁입니다. 저는 지금 외교부로 출근 중입니다. 외교부로 이동해서 장비를 수령하고 먼저 아메리칸 디플로머시 하우스 서울로 이동할 예정입니다. 실무관님입니다. 실무관님 안녕하세요. 일단 인터뷰 준비는 착실하게 돼 있어서 인터뷰 진행하고 오겠습니다.
뭐 이상한 것도 막 물어보시는 거.
DSLR이랑 삼각대 거기 너무 시간이 촉박하다 보니까 제가 이걸 설치를 잘하지도 않고 혹시 좀 알려주세요.
이게 무슨 소리지? 자네 멘토 아닌가? 이럴라고 그러는 거
아
아니야?
컨텐츠 역시 없어요. 핀 마이크를 더.
지금 이거 보고 하라는 거
아니요.
자 여러분들,
전체 역시 없습니다.
자 여러분들 이렇게 해서 여기 피우시고
아 그게 핀 마이크. 잘 하겠습니다.
그려 감히 어디서 이런 설정샷을
살렸다. 아무튼 갔다 오겠습니다. 네. 네, 저는 이제 도착을 했는데요. 저 인턴 동기를 한번 만나러 먼저 가보겠습니다. 네, 오늘 인터뷰를 같이 도와줄 인턴 동기들인데요. 정말 엘리트들입니다. 네, 간단한 자기소개 한번 해주실 수 있나요?
안녕하세요. 저는 모파랑 23기 박경진이라고 합니다.
안녕하세요. 저도 모파랑 23기 기름비라고 합니다.
네, 오늘 무려 미국 대사관 인터뷰를 하는 날인데 혹시 떨리시진 않으신가요?
저희가 나름 인턴 대사인데 그 정도는 괜찮지 않을까요?
오.
저도 자신 있습니다.
Yes, I did. Oh, did you participate yesterday? Okay, maybe I should. Nervous. Oh, you're nervous? Oh, 나는 무서워요.
안녕하세요. 저희는 모파랑 23기 박경진
기름비입니다.
네, 오늘은 주한미국대사관 부영사님을 모셔서 이야기를 나눠보려고 하는데요. Hello, good afternoon.
안녕하세요.
Good afternoon, Gabby. Thank you so much for being with us today. So, could you say hello to Moparang subscribers?
안녕하세요 여러분. 저는 가비 무스위로이라고 합니다. 저는 미국 대사관에서 부영사로 일해요. I've been living in Korea for about 7 months now, and I work in the consular section at the U.S. Embassy, and I'm really happy to be here to answer your questions today.
Thank you. Then now let's get started from now. Please give a brief about introduction to the Vice Consul.
Sure. So I kind of already said about the job that I do, but I'm from Texas in the United States, and I've been living here for about 7 months. This is my first tour. In the consular section, we work on visa adjudication as well as American citizen services.
Okay, thank you. And next sector is the life of diplomat. So, life as a diplomat always seems to require the ability to meet people and interact with them and adapt to a new culture. So, as such, is there any special way to you adapt to a new environment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was very lucky to have the opportunity to take some Korean lessons before coming here, which has been very helpful. But I think I try to approach every new situation with humility and an open mind, because there's always so much to learn from whatever new culture you're encountering.
And next question is, in your opinion, what are the most important skills needed to be a diplomat at the U.S. Embassy?
I think there are two very important skills. The first being able to work with other people. In the consular section, we have over 300 interviews a day, and that's not something I could do by myself. So I'm so grateful to have amazing colleagues that I get to work with, and we can always get more done when we work together. And then secondly, the cultural aspect you were talking about, being able to adapt to a new culture, practice the language, try the new food and the way of living. It's an exciting opportunity that we get as diplomats, but important to showing our respect to the places that we live, as well as making our own lives easier.
The next one is, if you could choose your career again, would you still work as a diplomat? Or if you did not become a diplomat, then what did you do for work?
사실은 옛날에 변호사 되고 싶었어요. 하지만 그 시험은 어려웠어요.
Being a diplomat is also a very hard
Yes,
job.
also difficult. But yeah, I think I learned from that failure that it's important to have your goals and chase after them, but when it's not the right fit, it's good to look up and move on to different opportunities. But 사실은 우리 오빠는 변호사예요. So, he has one up on me. No. I think I have a pretty good job too. But yeah, I did want to become a lawyer. But no, I think if I had the choice, I would 다시 외교관 생각해요.
Next chapter is about American diplomacy house here. The Republic of Korea and United States relationship is now developing in a wide range of the areas, including culture and education, as well as security. So could you introduce about U.S. Embassy's program or events that Korean and American students for interacting?
Of course. I mean, today is a great example. You guys are here for the Diplomats in Action series, where we have different American diplomats come here and talk about their life and their work. So you should definitely come to these events. And then on top of that, we're here in the American Diplomacy Academy, and that's a program that that I think you're participating in, right? So you get opportunities to learn how to negotiate and kind of work like a diplomat, and also learn about U.S. foreign policy and its relation to Korea. So those are incredible opportunities, and I have some information here about our Instagram and Kakao. So maybe you can spread this around after as well. But yeah, there's always updates online. Our social media team does a great job. I think they even made like a Barbie video around the time that came out, and things like that. So there's always plenty to do here. And I also encourage people to go and try to study abroad in the U.S. as well. There's tons of opportunities for that cultural exchange.
Yeah. The last question about American diplomacy house. For Koreans visiting the embassy to apply for B1 or B2 visas to visit the US. So do you have any tips for passing this interview?
그냥 잘 준비했어요. But yeah, I think I can just say that just prepare well. Don't be nervous. Some of our officers can speak Korean, and we also have translators, so there's no problem in being able to communicate. And we're all very friendly, so please don't be scared. And of course, we want to facilitate many Koreans getting to go to the U.S. to experience that cultural exchange. So best of luck, waiting.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start the interview. The next questions are about life in Korea and the culture. So the first question is, if you could only eat one Korean food for the rest of your life, what would you choose? And the reason why?
사실은 삼계탕 아주 좋아해요. 하지만 삼겹살을 친구랑 먹기는 너무 재밌어요. So maybe 삼겹살.
Oh.
네.
I love 삼겹살 too.
Yeah.
And the second question is, watching American dramas and
Yeah.
movies, I could see Americans wear shoes inside the house, but Korea has an under culture which is about floor hitting. So we don't wear shoes inside the house. So I'd like to ask you if it was difficult for you to adjust to this culture.
I actually think that's a wonderful practice. My family in Texas does wear their shoes on the house, but since moving here, I've tried to adopt that. It definitely keeps the house cleaner and shows a lot of respect to the people that own the house. But I will say sitting down at restaurants has been more challenging for me.
Yeah.
And the third question is, living in a foreign country with a very different language and culture can't be easy. So I'm curious to know how you've adjusted and if you have any tips that have helped you to adapt to Korean culture.
새로운 친구 많이 해요. You have to meet new friends, and I've been so blessed to make some really great Korean friends here who I've traveled with and who showed me new foods and taken me to new places. And I know MBTI is a big deal here, and I'm an ENTP. So making new friends is kind of how I become comfortable in a new place. So I'm so grateful for them. You know who you are. And I just give that advice as well, that when you get to a new place, just try to make new friends and go try new things. And that's the best way to get comfortable.
Thank you. And the last questions are about the RK-US alliance. So what are some ways to strengthen the US-RK alliance that Korean and American youth can contribute to?
Absolutely. Like I said before, take the opportunity to visit the U.S., whether that's on a B1, B2 visa for tourism, or on a J1 visa for research exchange or study abroad in the U.S., or even just an F1 to go to school in the U.S. Those are all awesome opportunities. But if you can't travel to the U.S. right now, I know there are many, many American exchange students at the universities here in Korea. So take an opportunity to reach out to them and try to do that cultural exchange, because the people-to-people connection is where you're going to learn the most. So yeah.
Thank you. And could you please share your thoughts on the interview today?
Well, you guys did a wonderful job. But yes, I'm so grateful to represent our 70-year alliance between Korea and the United States today. And I know that it'll only be more great going forward. So 같이 갑시다.
And last but not least, I would appreciate your words of support for the relationship between Korea and America.
Yeah, of course. Every day I am inspired by the young Koreans who I get to interview who want to go study in the U.S., live in the U.S., and create that bond. And I know there are many Americans who look forward to that as well. So again, our 70-year relationship is just going to get stronger. So very excited for that.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the interview. It was such an amazing time to listen to the stories of the U.S. Embassy's Vice Consul, Gabby. And 네, 이것으로 주한미국 대사관 부영사님과의 인터뷰를 마치도록 하겠습니다. 구독과 좋아요.
수고하셨습니다.
States. Which visa or visas? Correct answer is 14,779. No efforts have been made. What have we been talking about this whole time? Stand up. 일어나.
I'm going to turn over to our virtual questions. We have a question that asks about the importance and the recognition of equity leading to related policies. And so this person is keen to gain a deeper understanding of what implications about diversity look like in the everyday.
So the way that I think about the importance of diversity is when we're creating foreign policy or when we're changing things up in our workplace. If everyone thinks the same way, then nothing will really change. So it's important to have people with different backgrounds, different ways of life. We collaborate so much with our Korean local staff. It's very important to us as the American officers that this is a good workplace for them as well. I learn so much from them every day. So everyone should be there, sharing their opinion, their experiences.
But for our in-person audience, if you have any questions for Gabby, if you could raise your hand, we invite you to ask any questions.
That is a great question, because you're so right that as we become more globalized, technology advances, there are so many different ways for cross-cultural communication to happen. It's not just the job of the 대사관 anymore, but we are the only ones that can issue US visas, so that's one thing. And we do help these corporations to get a footing in other countries in order to facilitate trade and collaborative transfer of technology and things like that. So there's definitely still a strong role for the government. I think we provide stability and we represent our own citizens abroad, the same as Korea does with their embassies in other countries, right? I think I'm very privileged in the sense that I live here with the support of the US government, and my position as a diplomat, I have certain rights and privileges that the average foreigner doesn't have here. But I've found that, you know, Koreans overall are very patient when I try to use Korean, and whenever I go into a restaurant or somewhere new, I never expect them to speak English, or of course they can, and Koreans are at large excellent at English, and I've been so impressed with the amount with the skill of the English skill that I've seen in the students that I interview wanting to go to the US. But I think when you're in, you know, a foreign country, you should respect their cultures and their traditions and not expect them to cater to you as a foreigner. But yet there is that element of human rights as well that should be supported. So I've had a good experience living in Korea, but I do recognize my privileges. I am grateful.
내 솜씨를 제대로 보여줄 시간이군.
So thank you for braving the cold and the rain and the snow and the sleet. We really appreciate having you here.
Thank you. And could you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure. My name is Christopher Gao. I'm a graduate student at Seoul National University. I've been a major in international cooperation. I'm a foreign student here in Korea as an American citizen.
And how was today's lecture?
It was very informative. Yeah, I'm personally interested in becoming a foreign service officer myself, so that's why I'm here, Korea, getting some international experience and learning another language. And yeah, I didn't really know a lot about what foreign service officers do on a regular basis, so it was good to definitely hear some of that from someone who has on-the-job experience.
Thank you. And lastly, how do you think about the relationship between Korea and America?
I think, as we heard from the speaker, I think, of course, the relationship is very strong. Of course, we have 70 years of history together, and a lot of important economic and security cooperation we need to keep an eye on. But overall, I'm pretty optimistic about the future of the US-RK lines.
Thank you for joining the interview.
네, 인턴님 오늘 저희 프로그램 잘 들었고 인터뷰를 진행해 보려 하는데요. 사실 소감 같은 거를 물어보려 했는데 너무 재미가 없어서 저희가 사행시를 해보려고 해요. 그 사행시 단어는 한미동맹이고 혹시 지금 가능하신가요?
아, 지금이요?
네.
네, 한번 생각해 보겠습니다.
준비할 시간 없이 바로 들어가겠습니다.
한국과 미국은 동맹이라는 사실 모두 알고 계시죠?
맹.
맹활약이 필요합니다.
오. 감사합니다. 인터뷰 마치겠습니다.
인터뷰 어땠어? 그래서? 뭐 아니 좋은 거 말고.
맹활약이 필요합니다.
그래? 좋네.
저 이제 가보겠습니다.
재영님 이번에 미국 대사관 잘 다녀오셨어요?
아 너무 힘들어 죽을 뻔했어요. 진짜 촬영도 다 제가 하고 편집도 제가 하고 실무관님 부여받은 데는 하나도 안 넣어주고.
근데 저희
네.
조지아 대사관도 가야 된다는